Hello everyone, welcome back to Crafts by the Bow. Today I'm making a different sort of card. I hadn't made this one before. It's like a pillar card, and you may be catching this on replay because I've gone live a day early. I have my Christmas social with some of my crafters tomorrow, and so I thought I'd just come on today and show you the card that I was going to make tomorrow. And just checking that our live stream is working. Yes, it is. Okay, excuse me. So it's a quick and easy card to make. I've made these sort of cards with a smaller little square and one at each side, almost like a bridge card, but I've never actually made this design. So I'm using some of the Christmas paper, and I've been using this on a lot of my projects. It's the Traditions of Christmas 12 by 12. And some of the paper, like this and this, doesn't have to be for Christmas. You could use this for a birthday, you know, events during the year. Some is very Christmassy, of course, but you can use the backing sides of the sheets on quite a lot of projects. So here are the things we're going to need, and I leave it for a moment just so that you can take a picture if you want to. It is also on my Facebook page, of course. Okay, so let's pop these away onto one side. Oops, dropped that one. There we go. And I'm going to start with the base. Now I've got the base Secret Sea because I love how it goes with this paper and this one. So it's, you know, got the Christmas images on one side, but I'm going to use this one this time. But I just love the colour of it. Oh, let me pop that there, and then you can see what I'm doing. Okay. Oh, my computer's just telling me to move. Hi, Gail. Hope you're feeling better soon. No, you're not very well. But nice to see you, and I'll miss you tomorrow. We all will. Okay, so my base is 5.5 by 10 1/8. I'm going to put the arm out because I'm going to score this at 4 1/4, 5 3/4, 7 1/4, 8 3/4. So 4 1/4 first. I'm just going to line it up. Hi Jane, nice to see you. Thank you for setting an alarm. That made me smile this morning. 5 3/4, 7 1/4, and 8 3/4. Okay. And while I'm here, I've also got the 2 by 3.5 piece in Secret Sea, but I'm going to cut my designer series paper. Now you need 3 strips for 3 of the sides of the pillar, and so I started off with a piece 3 3/4 by 5 1/4, and I'm just going to cut it into 3 pieces at 1 1/4 each. We'll have another one, Gail. We'll have another craft together, so we can all get together. So I'm going to cut at 1 1/4. I've already had a request to do this for one of our monthly classes, so I will add it into the January class. So 1 1/4, and that should leave me a piece that's 1 1/4. Yeah. Okay, so I've got my 3 pieces there. I don't need to cut anything else, so I'm just going to move this out of the way. And then I'm not sure if you can see these score lines on here. It's a bit tricky to see, but they are all scored. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it round so that the score lines are here on the left hand side, and I'm just going to fold them. Okay, I'm just going to fold them under like that. Okay, and then I'm going to turn it over. Okay, so I could easily have just done it this way and folded them. I just find it easier to fold down away from me, because sometimes on this darker card or on busy designer series paper, I can't always see the score lines very well. So these are just going to fold over. I'm going to go over with the little bone folder too. Let me turn that. You have four score lines to go over. Okay. Don't know where I've got that fluff from. Okay, so just turn it around. So at the moment I've got these over here on the left hand side because that's just how I'd folded it. And you can see how this is going to go and fold over to make this. So so once it's a square, you'll just have that little piece down the side. So I'm going to lay it again with these folds on the right hand side now. And on this one, we're just going to put adhesive. You could use tear and tape, you could use liquid glue, whatever works for you. I'm just going to use tear and tape because it's quick and it's easy and it dries fast. It's already sorted. Okay, now these 3 pieces here that we've got scored, that's where our pieces of designer series paper are going to go. I'm going to go 1 in each, just like this. And then as that folds in, that's going to become our column with designer series paper on 3 sides. And let's glue these on. If you wanted to use, you know, the less plain side, like the busier side, you certainly can. If you do it like that, it's nice to have one piece of designer series paper where the pattern sort of matches all the way along. It would be really nice with some of those papers that have an image or a scene on. That would look pretty. When it's like this kind of paper, it doesn't matter too much. But certainly it would look nice with an image. Okay. Is anyone crafting along with me? Is anyone else making one at the same time? If you do, no, post a picture underneath, or even if you make it later, just post a picture. Oh, that's not very level. I'm just going to move that one. Not very level, so I just need it to move over and be in the middle. There we go. Okay, let's put the lid on there. Next, we're just going to take off the backing for our tear and tape. Oh, Jane, nice. Are you making a Christmas card or something else? Okay, so now I am going to turn it over. So this will become sort of the inside. This will become this piece that we can see. And all I'm going to do is fold the first 2 pieces over. So I can see the tape and I can see the first lot of the designer series paper. The other 2 are underneath. And what I'm going to do is just close it. So I'm not going to try and fit it in to make the square. I'm literally just folding this piece in half and I'm going to fold it over. And now I know that that will fit in an ordinary envelope. Look how flat it's going to be. But also it's going to pop up and be a pillar card just for display. And if you fold it that way, I found that it's easier to get it, you know, straight at the top and the bottom and just right in the middle. Christmas card. Yeah, I'm hoping I've nearly done my Christmas cards. Although my husband did come home and said he had a few more that he would like to give out. So I'm sure I'll be making some more. Okay, so we've got our box, our little pillar there. Really quick, really easy. Next, we've got some pieces of basic white. and I've got a piece that's 2.5 by 5.25. That's going to be part of the front, so I'm going to move that to one side. I actually want this piece. This is the 5.25 by 2.5. That one isn't. That's 2.25 by 3.75. So this is the 5.25 by 2.5, and it's going to fit here. The bigger piece is for the back. Now, if you didn't want to put a piece on the back, if you wanted to do your sentiment on here, then you don't have to put a designer series paper here. You can leave it just white so that you can do your writing, and maybe another little image that you want to cut out or stamp. Or you could just put this piece and a narrow strip down it. But I quite like the look of having the designer series paper here, especially these speciality papers that have the little bit of gold, you know, and the light picks them up. So I'm going to do mine like that, and then I'm going to find my designer series paper. Now, at the moment, I haven't cut this, I've just remembered. So let's cut this. I need a piece 2.25 by 5. I have cut one piece that's 1 inch by 4. So, but I'm going to cut this one 2.25 by 5. And this was quite a big piece that's left over. So it's a bit long, but let's just see. I'm going to cut 2.25. I'm going to cut it upside down because this piece I don't need, but this piece seemed to have more of the little red flowers on. And then I'm going to cut a piece off the bottom or off the top. So I need it by 5. So just trim a little piece off. How are you doing, Jane? You've got your nice little pillar sorted? Okay, now this I'm going to glue onto the white. It's got just a nice little border all the way around. And I think it's nice to have that focal point. Okay, let's pop this on here. Same little border as the designer series paper has on the card itself, just that 1/4 inch border. If you wanted less of a border, you could increase all these widths and lengths by 1/8 inch and just have a smaller border. But I quite like that bigger border. Okay, so this is just, I'm just going to glue it here. I'm just making sure that my flowers are all sort of the way around that I want them. The beauty of some of these papers is that it doesn't matter. You can have them whichever way round you want. But for this, I actually like the pink poinsettia at the bottom. So. Okay, you've done all the hard bit, Jane. So the tricky bit's done. The tricky bit was cutting the paper. So it's not tricky to assemble. Okay, so there we are. I'm going to do my back piece while I've got this ready. So this is my white piece that was 5.25 by 4. And this was my little leftover piece of designer series paper that I had. That's 1.25 by 5. And it's just going to fit across the bottom like this. You could do a narrower piece. You could do, let me have a look in my box, the pieces that I've got pre-cut. You could have like one of the pre-cut little floral pieces instead. If you didn't want to put designer series paper at the bottom, that would look really pretty. You could do, you could have the same paper as this. I know this is a different one, but you could have this and a little flower too. You could stamp something, you could stamp flowers, whatever you wanted, just to make the back look as pretty as the front. So I'm going to pop that on here. Glue is here, couldn't see it, it was right under my hand. Pop this at the bottom. Let's see. I'm going to put it that way around, I think. If you don't have any little pieces of designer series paper, you could also do a little scrap piece of embossed card, or 2 little strips of designer series paper with a tiny strip of card. Honestly, so many different things that you could use, and just tiny pieces that sometimes, you know, we think, oh, that's too small for anything, just throw it away. And I'm trying this year to use up my scraps. Oops. So I've turned it over. I'm going to pop this right on the back. It will fold flat for me so that I can just attach this. Just run over it with my bone folder. I had a question last week about the bone folder. Sometimes I'll use my Stampin' Up one, but I tend to use this silicone one a little bit more because I use it for albums. And when I'm making albums, I find that this flatter, straight edge will run across the creases on my card and not leave a mark. Whereas because I'm quite heavy-handed, I think, when I use this edge, it doesn't lay as flat for me. It's still a really handy bone folder, but I tend to reach for this one more. So, and I'm sure they sell them on Amazon and places like that. I think I bought mine in a scrapbook shop, but and you can see I've had it a while because it's starting to bend. And I think that's just because I press so hard. But that's where that's from, and that's why I don't always use my Stampin' Up bone folder. I just reach for this one because it's versatile. Okay, so let's go back to this. So we had 2 little pieces left over, and that is the same as the base, the Secret C 2 by 3.5. Yep. And then the white piece for backing, which was 2 1/4 by 3 3/4. Yep. So they're the pieces we have left. And the white is going to become the backing. No, we're not throwing away any DSP, how we go. Even tiny strips. No, usually I will use a coloured backing for a label and white for the front. So this is a bit different for me to use white for the backing and then to have a dark piece for the label. If you wanted to do sort of an image on this, if you wanted to stamp instead or do a sentiment, it would be really nice to heat emboss. So I found that the gold and the silver show up really nicely on this Secret C. But that's not what I'm doing today. Yeah, we're not throwing away any pieces of designer series paper. Okay, so this is going to become the front piece here, and when you close it, when you fold it down, we want to make sure that it doesn't protrude over the edge of the card, because otherwise when you try to get it in the envelope it won't fit. So whatever piece you use, whether you use a circle or a square, whatever, just make sure that when it's laid on the front and it's laid on this piece, the very top piece, it doesn't protrude past the right hand side of the card. Okay. Now before I put that on there, I need to cut out one of these little sets of flowers, and I have got 2. So I've got 2 to choose from, and I've also got a sentiment. I chose one of the smaller sentiments from that never-ending bag of sentiments that we tried to get last week, and then Jane said that it was sold out. I haven't checked lately to see if they've got any more back in, but that's what I'm using. If you don't have those, you can certainly stamp or heat emboss a sentiment and just cut it out. You could make a little, just use like a little piece of white card and make it as a rectangular label. You don't have to have anything fancy. Now, on this one, I used the red flowers, so this time I'm going to cut out the blue flowers. And I thought I had some of those cut out from last week when I'd sat and done a lot, but I don't. I've only got red, and I've got the pink and the red. Now the pink and the red would look nice as well, but I just fancy having the blue ones. So I'm going to quickly cut those out. And I'm sorry you have to watch me fussy cut, because I thought I was all prepared and then realised that, you know, I want a different one. And I could easily put the others on, but this is the one I'd like. So, have you got a lot of snow, Jane? I noticed a few people in Ontario saying that they'd got some snow. I haven't spoken to my daughter yet today, so I don't know if she's got any, but I didn't know if it had affected you. One of my friends in Guelph had posted that she'd got a fair bit of snow, and it was cold. We've had snow on and off for the weekend, but not anything today. Well, not anything today yet. It's just a bit sort of grey and overcast. It could snow if it thought about it. It's that kind of a look. But I'm hoping it's not thinking about it, because I don't need any more snow. And yesterday was the first time I've been out for a little while, and it was sort of icy, and I didn't feel very comfortable walking, but I needed to go to the post office, and so we went, but oof, it was hard work yesterday. We've got lots of ice with just fresh snow on top, and in the car parks and things, it's all, you know, when it's all mashed down, and then it freezes, and then it thaws a little bit, and then it's icy. It's just like that. It's just grotty to walk on. I'm seriously thinking about ordering the dies for this paper, because although it's easy to fussy cut, there are some of the other little images that the dies cut out as well. And I didn't get the stamps with these images on. I only got the paper and then the labels and the sentiments. But I'm starting to think that if they put them in the sale after Christmas, I might get them, because it's been a nice set. Oh, Wednesday. Oh, fingers crossed you don't get too much. And it is cold. Yeah, I'm just frightened of falling. And after the knee surgery, I don't have the same feeling in that knee, and it doesn't seem to, I don't know, it doesn't listen. It's like a toddler. It just doesn't listen. It does its own thing. So I'm just frightened that I'm gonna fall over. So then you walk differently, don't you? And that hurts your leg even more. I can't wear any kind of heels since the knee surgery. And sort of my boots that have better traction on the bottom have got a little heel, but I think I'm going to have to find something else. So Richard did offer to put me on a sled one of the days, but I don't think that's a possibility really. Okay, so let's pop that right in the middle. Okay, and then I'm going to attach this to the pillar, and it's just going to attach to that front piece there, and I'm only going to glue about half of it. I want it to be sort of there, but again, I just need to check when I put it on. I'm going to line mine up with the white hand side, this white piece here, because then I know it's going to be fairly straight and it's not going to protrude over the edge. Oh, Gail, no, we don't want any more. Send it to somebody else in need. Okay, so I've only got about 1 inch that I need to glue. You could put your adhesive straight on here, I'm just going to think, right, I've only got an inch, so I'm turning it over and it will be just down here. I don't think you would, Jane. I don't think so. Oh dear. Okay, so I'm going to close that, make sure that this looks about in the centre. I'm going to put my glasses on so I can see. And then I'm just going to line it up with the edge of the white border there. Okay. So, yeah, I like how that is. I know that it's going to fold flat, it's not going to protrude. So I'm just going to press that down. Okay. And then last of all, I've got my little sentiment. This one I'm going to have the From Our House to Yours. And I've been putting them over the little bow. I'd like them to go higher, but I don't want to lose any of the flowers. If you have a picture like this where you don't want to lose any of it, you could certainly put it on the inside here. Now, if you popped that up on dimensionals, looks, maybe you can see it from there. So if you had it popped up, you can still read it, or you could make this a little bit longer and have it, you know, sort of down at the bottom, like here. It's a bit difficult to get it on the pillar itself, but certainly if you had it like there, you could still see it when the card is standing up. But for me, I'm quite happy to have it over the top of that bow. And I'm going to take the backing off. Sometimes, you know, I leave these backings on and put my dimensionals onto it, but I'm just going to take it off on this one because I want it to stick onto the designer series paper. And I'm going to put a little dimensional at either end. There won't be a lot of it that touches the Secret Sea label, so I'm just going to put little dimensionals on. Wasn't sure if that had come off then. And then I'm going to just put it flat while I put this on. I'm just going to try and get it in the middle. There we go. And then I can just feel that those two tiny dimensionals are sticking onto the Secret Sea. Okay, now if you wanted, I didn't on this one, but if you wanted, you could certainly put more embellishments on. You could put these little glitter sequins that came with this set, or you could use a little gem, maybe put some gems in the middle of these flowers. See what that looks like. Let's try this smaller gold one. So, yeah, they look pretty on there. And I've got 5, so I'm going to put those on anyway. That's a nice odd number. I need another row of them, so let's have a look. Because I'm using the smaller gold ones. And because there's just 5, that will give us our odd number and it would look pretty. Oh, that does look nice. I like that. You could put more on the front. You could put some on the designer series paper here, wherever you wanted. So there we are. It's quick and it's easy. Once you've got those things cut and once you've tried to do this little folded pillar for one time, once you've done it once, then you know, and it's quite easy. So I hope you like that. Send us a picture of the ones that you make, and I will see you all a week on Tuesday. If you have any requests, things that you would like me to make, send me a quick message and I'll see if we can do that. But thanks for joining me, ladies. It's always fun to craft with you, and I do look forward to our Facebook Lives. Take care and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.